will report in more detail on the operation. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, in accordance with your order, our aviation since September 30th has been launching airstrikes on enemy targets in Syria. In total, 2,289 sorties have been launched, and 4,111 terrorist targets were destroyed, including 562 command posts, 64 training camps, 54 factories manufacturing arms and munitions, as well as a number of other facilities. The operations of Russian air forces have enabled Syrian government troops to launch an offensive along the entire front in Homs, Idlib, Damascus, and Aleppo provinces, liberating considerable territories from terrorists. In the north, in Aleppo province, the Syrian army has liberated 40 towns and villages, blocking the Quirus air base. Government troops are now continuing to enlarge the security area around the airfield. The offensive on Idlib is successfully unfolding. Government troops are successfully operating within 20 or 30 kilometers from the city. In the Latakia province, terrorists have been stormed out of 12 townships and villages. Government troops, together with local militias, are engaged in fierce fighting against terrorists, and they've managed to clear a number of tactically important towns and heights from the enemy. Despite fierce resistance from terrorists, government troops continue their advance. In the central part of the country, a joint offensive by government troops and militias have enabled the capture of Hadat and the blockade of Umhin. The Syrian army continues its offensive on Palmyra. Its crack troops have penetrated enemy defenses by 4 kilometers, blocking enemy forces at Matsan, and now fighting for the commanding heights in the run-up to the city. Near Damascus, through fierce urban fighting, the East Ghouta and Jawbar districts are now being contested. The Syrian army has liberated 80 towns and villages in total, establishing control of a territory of over 500 square kilometers. In accordance with your orders, we have intensified our aerial airstrikes against ISIS and other terrorist organizations, terrorist groups. Together with intensifying the sorties from of the Russian aviation from the Mimim air base in Syria, our plan foresees engaging aviation sorties, long-range aviation from Russian-based airfields, including 25 strategic bombers and other aircraft. In order to spot enemy targets with more precision, satellite surveillance is continuing its surveillance of the Middle East region, engaging 8 spacecraft and including those of civil use spacecraft, and we continue retargeting our surveillance instruments. We also would like to engage the spacecraft in operative reserve, as well as launch new ones. Today, the launch of 34 long-range cruise missiles have destroyed 14 important enemy facilities, including command posts that used to coordinate the activities of ISIS groups in Idlib and Aleppo provinces, as well as munitions, arms depots, and other facilities in the northwest of Syria. In addition, training camps of the extremists that provided new ranks for the terrorist groups, including suicide bombers. production facilities that used to provide to produce unguided mortar munitions and suicide vests. Our aircraft group in the Syrian Arab Republic today launched 65 sorties, destroying 6 command posts, 8 munitions depots, 12 training camps, 4 production facilities, and 6 fuel depots. Su-34 aircraft delivered strikes on 2 fuel supply columns, together with previous damage on oil transport facilities of the terrorists. In total, we have destroyed 410 oil trucks, as well as certain facilities, certain infrastructure facilities, making it more difficult for the terrorists to trade oil. Our operations are commanded from the Center of National Defense of the Russian Aviation, engaging the command center of long-range aviation and the command post in Syria. We coordinated, we notified of our actions the U.S. Air Force Command and other relevant institutions in the world. All of your tasks, Mr. Commander-in-Chief, will be implemented. Thank you. Commander of Long-Range Aviation, you have the floor. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, Commander of Long-Range Aviation, Lieutenant General Zhikharev, reports, as of today, long-range aviation of Russia has started delivering strikes on facilities of the terrorist group ISIS in Syria in order to carry out our to accomplish our missions. We have engaged all types of our military assets, including long-range bombers, their crews have been tasked with delivering strikes on targets in strict accordance with the plan of the first massive airstrikes. Strategic missile carriers, 260 and 295 MS, following the completion of their missions, landed back on their airfields. Now maintenance activities are being carried out for further sorties, and analysis is done on videos. 222 from the Mozdok airfield have been launching 2 group airstrikes on ISIS targets in the east of Syria, in Raqqa and Anzor provinces. One of the airstrikes was delivered at night. The other airstrikes is being delivered as we speak. 222 M3 within one sortie that lasted 4 hours covered the distance of 4,500 kilometers, as well as 260 and 295 spent 8 and 9 hours airborne, respectively. Their routes made up a total of 6,500 kilometers. Their airstrikes destroyed 7 clusters of enemy personnel and hardware, several command posts and training camps. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, the morale of our crews, their training, the condition of our hardware, the fuel storages and munitions storages enable us to accomplish our mission within the framework of this operation in due time and in strict accordance with the plan. Thank you. Thank you very much, General. First rank Captain Krivorok, Moskva cruiser deployed in the Mediterranean. You have the floor. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, senior officer in the troops, Commander Krivorok, reports Moskva missile cruiser deployed in the eastern part of the Mediterranean is accomplishing the mission of providing for the stability and marine cover for Russian troops and cargoes deployed to Syria. Our ship has covered 10,300 maritime miles, covering a total of 27 craft, 27 ships transporting goods and personnel to Syria. We have witnessed a total of 227 air sorties by the military forces of other nations performing their military activities and operations in this region. Right now, our group is engaged in controlling the situation, including their submarine and subsurface and surface fleets. The morale of our crews is high. My report is over. Thank you. In the nearest future, in your area of operation, a French battle group will be coming up. A French naval group led by an aircraft carrier will enter your area in operation. You must establish direct contact with the French and collaborate with them as allies. The heads of general staff have received the relevant mission statements, and we will need to develop a joint plan together with them. Now let's hear from the Mozdok airfield. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, in accordance with your decision, as of today, the group of long-range bombers 222 delivered a group night airstrikes on 6 targets of ISIS in Syria from the Mozdok airfield. Following their landing, they prepared for a repeated sortie. At 4 o'clock in the morning, the crews, the wings took flight again to deliver another group airstrike, and up to 1700 hours they delivered strikes on 6 enemy targets. As of now, the aircraft are returning to the airfield. The crews and the hardware are working normally. We keep up communications with the crews all along their routes. Mr. Commander-in-Chief, our personnel of our operations group is prepared to carry out the missions to protect the Russian Federation and its citizens. Dear colleagues, I would like to build on what our colleague has just said. Carrying out the mission to combat terrorists in Syria, you effectively are protecting the Russian Federation and its citizens. I would like to thank you for the work you have been doing. Good luck.